Much for joining us on the Money Show with LaShawne Holland. If you would be so kind and tag a friend, family member, co-worker, just share the Facebook Live, and if you want to create a watch party, please do that too. But we wanted to really, I was just thinking about earlier today how even with financial transformation, people need to address their inactivity or their inaction. And so because stuff just doesn't just go away on its own, right? Yep. Where God didn't create us to be a creature that just hides from everything or anything that doesn't go our way. And so pretending that our money mindset issues or pretending that our financial issues aren't there is really not a wealth strategy. Yep. And so Rob said something this year at the Wealthy Revolution Live event that I thought was so good, and I wanted him to share it with our Facebook friends. And
and by the way, it was shared in a VIP lunch. So if you don't sign up for that VIP lunch.
Oh, no, you didn't share it with the audience.
No, that was a VIP lunch. That was a VIP lunch.
Well, it was only given to the people who actually signed up and invested to be in the room at the VIP lunch. Yep. So you guys are benefiting because...
Just a shameless plug for the VIP lunch. So if you sign up for Wealthy Revolution Live, as soon as that VIP lunch becomes available,
I remember
don't hesitate.
Then we should probably pull Adam in here because Adam taught on this. I mean, he dropped some bomb nuggets on this. And so, but Rob said something, and my son Adam actually expounded on it, but I want to talk about it tonight because I thought it was so good. And I wanted him to share it with our Facebook friends, and I want to dig a little deeper. So if you can, hopefully by now, you started showing up on my Facebook Lives with a pen and a piece of paper or iPad or some type of note-taking device, because tonight is going to be one of those nights where you will actually need to take notes. Not copious notes, but enough that would help you bring some sort of change in what we're talking about. And so, what changes your life really is making decisions and using your focus to make consistent actions and produce the outcomes or the desires that you really want or the results that you really want. And so there are no shortcuts to financial freedom. There's no shortcuts to becoming a millionaire. There's no shortcuts to success of any kind. And a lot of times people think that it happens overnight, and it just doesn't happen like that. The life that you end up having is one that is made up of multiple decisions that you've made along the way. And so the difference in the results that people produce really comes down to one separator, is what they've done differently from others in the same situation. Yep. And so I remember some time ago, I was having a conversation with a family member of mine, and, they were feeling some kind of way about, my family's success, and really the root cause of it was envy. I mean, I'm gonna call it what it is. But and one of the things that I said to them in having this conversation is, you can't be upset or you can't be mad at me because I've made different decisions. I decided long ago to do something different and take a different route. And so you can never be mad at someone because they decided to do different things than what you did, or they decided earlier in their life to do different things than what they did. And so you just have to make, different decisions. And, I didn't do anything that was, I think was super fantastic. I had a goal, I remember, and I've told people this story about before, you may have heard it, how my transformation really started, or my yellow brick road to wealth really started with a decision that I made when I was pregnant with my oldest son, 23, 24 years ago. And I just simply didn't want my kids, or at that time, my child, because he was my firstborn, to live the same path that we had lived growing up. And so, different actions produce different results, and everything that occurs in your life, no matter if it's the things that make you happy or the things that present challenges to you, begin with a decision. And so when I was in that nursery, I decided a few things. I decided that my children or my child was never going to start from ground zero. And so I wanted to be able to give him the advantage in life. And I wanted my ceiling to be his floor. And so I didn't necessarily know at that time what that looked like, but I made a decision. And because I believe that we made a decision that we were going to do something different, which required us to have different actions, you know, that God allowed people to come in our paths. You know, I call him my baker, my butler, my pharaoh, but he allowed them to come in our path to help with the decision that we made. And so Tony Robbins says this all the time. He says it's in your moment of decisions that your destiny is shaped. Yep. And I think that's so, so good because it's so true. And so the decisions that you're making today will not only shape how you feel, it will actually begin to shape who you are becoming. And so the very person that you want to be in your future, I think I may have even said it last week. You know, one of the things I used to tell my kids when they were growing up is decide who you want to be in your future, and whoever you want to be in your future, you start making those decisions today, not when you get in your future. It's too late then, you know. And so it's like you're baking a cake, and everything that you're putting inside the bowl, when it gets in the oven and it goes through the process of building wealth, you know, will determine what it tastes like when it comes out the oven. And so if you don't put the right ingredients in, if you pour pickle juice in your cake mix batter, it's probably going to be really nasty when it comes out the oven. And so, you know, again, the decisions that you make today really are shaping who you become in your future. So
if I could just share something real quick, you mentioned, you know, having the discussion with the family member, and I think it's important for people to realize, you know, as you walk in the calling of God that's on your life, you may have family members that don't necessarily agree with what it is that you're doing. And I just want to encourage you, understand that number one, the call is bigger than you, right? When you're called to someone, when you're called to help people, the call is bigger than you. So you cannot be moved by those on the periphery who may not understand exactly what it is you're doing. But if you know that you're operating in the will of God and you got the Holy Spirit moving behind you and leading you and guiding you, then you go forward with all the power and all the might that's on the inside of you, because ultimately it's the enemy that's trying to hold you back. So I want to encourage you, if you got family members who may not agree or understand what you're doing.
We've lost really close friends over this.
Absolutely.
You know, I have a friend that I felt like we were Jonathan and David. In the Bible, my soul really loved her. And it came out years later. I didn't know why she had stopped talking to me, but it came out years later that it was because I had started making more money than her. And I thought that was really shallow, because I thought our friendship was built on something that was stronger and deeper. And from my part, I felt like it was a covenant, you know, and she let something as small as money get in the way. But anyway, we're not talking about friendship here. And so people get so hung up, I think, on the how, but it's not important initially to know how you're going to create the results that you want, or the outcomes that you want, or how you're going to create the financial freedom-based lifestyle, you know, that you desire. But remember, desire needs direction to go the distance. And so the direction comes from a place of decision. And so what's important is for you to really decide that you'll find a way no matter what. You know, Rob and I are very relentless in our decisions. And so we work with our clients. A lot of times we reverse engineer, you know, their desires. And one of the methods that we use in doing that is something that I want to share with you really quick before Rob jumps in. But if you haven't noticed by now, this Facebook Live is about DNA. And so Rob talked, you know, he mentioned it at the VIP lunch at the Wealthy Revolution Live event. And DNA, he talked about how decisions need action. And I just thought that was so good when I heard you say that. You know, Rob always drops these just nuggets that are like bombs, and I was like, wow, it causes me to really dig deeper and think about, you know, and have Selah moments on what you said. But it's really true. And so it wasn't until you said it that I really was able to look back over the really pivotal moments
in our life,
and
That's right.
that I could trace it all back
to a decision. Yep.
And so we work with, again, I said our clients, a lot of times we'll reverse engineer what they say they want. And one of the methods we use is something that we've learned over the years from our many mentors. And, we sat down and, thought about what really shifted things. We came up with this. And so you have to know your outcomes. That's number one.
Yep.
What outcome do you want? What are the results that you want? Oftentimes people don't get what they want because they don't know what they want. They're not clear in what you want. And when you become clear on your path to income acceleration, the hows will come. And so you really do have to, be clear on that. Clarity really is key. What are the outcomes that you're looking for? When I first started, I just wanted to get out of debt. I wanted to get out of debt, and I wanted to be able to send my children to a private school. But then I learned once I got in the mix that all private schools weren't equal.
That's right.
So then I wanted the best private school.
Yeah.
And so number two is get yourself in action by deciding to do so. And so we wanted to get out of debt. We made a decision to get out of debt. And so we had to figure out what actions did we need to take to make that happen.
And that was a major decision, right? That was a cloud's decision to get out of debt. But it requires decisions in the dirt on a daily basis to bring that to pass.
That's good.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important that you will make a high level decision that requires daily decisions to get you to achieve that goal, right? Because it was decisions to stop eating out. It was decisions to, be more wise in how we spent our money.
Just pay attention and develop a relationship. People don't develop relationships with their money.
Right.
And then part of a requirement of building a great relationship is you spending time with a person. Like, our relationship took us spending time with each other. And I'm talking about even before marriage.
Right.
It took us time getting to know each other. And so people really don't spend enough time with their money. They don't know where it's going on going out the window on a daily basis or a monthly basis. True. I talk to people all the time, and if I ask them very specific questions about their spending habits or where their money is going, they really can't tell me. I think it's around.
Right.
You need to know. You have to be very specific. And so get yourself into action by deciding to do so. And then 3, pay attention and notice what results that you're getting from your action.
Got to track it.
You got to be able to track it. Listen, what gets measured gets results. And so if, then the last step to this is what you're doing isn't working, then change your approach. Don't keep sticking with a system that this doesn't work for you. Budgets did not work for me. I was not going to stick with a system that wasn't working. It was causing me to be frustrated. And so I just didn't see much movement. And so it didn't work. And so you really have to be committed to the outcome, but flexible in your approach to it. And so you can save time and energy and sometimes a lot of money by choosing a role model or getting a coach to really accelerate the pace, at which the pace you're going to take to having financial success, right?
Success leaves clues.
Success leaves clues. And so now after watching this Facebook Live, you need to take some action. And so part of taking the action is I would love for you to write down 3 decisions you've been putting off that when you make them now will change your life. Or, and when I say that, I mean decisions like opening up your mail. A lot of times when people don't feel like addressing their financial, issues head on, they hide from them. They let their mail pile up. They don't open their mail. You find mail in their car on the floor, in their, the trunk of their car, or
they don't want to face that reality.
They don't want to face the reality. Meanwhile, they're getting paid, getting charged a bunch of fees from their banks because, they have insufficient funds in their account. And so if you just paid attention, you could save some money, right? And so I want you to think about and write down just 3 decisions that you've been putting off. When you make them, will change your life. And so, like I said, it could be a decision. Okay, from here on out, I'm going to open my mail every day.
Right.
And if it's a bunch of junk mail, then take the time to call the people and tell them take you off their mailing list so you can stop getting so much junk mail. Yep. I mean, you know, that's not hard for you to do. Or go on a spending fast, or write down where your money is going, or, you know, make a decision. You know, maybe you want to invest in Abundance Attraction Intensive, which is a 12-month-long financial education program that I have, or be a part of Money Made Easy Masterclass that you have been putting off. Listen, you don't get results from the actions that you don't take.
That's right.
Or you don't get results from the decisions that you never make. And so my husband and I were talking about this earlier. We get people all the time to say, I'm going to go to your event next year. I'm going to go next year. But you don't create the space for that to happen. And if you don't create the space for that to happen, a year will come and you still won't be in the room.
Right.
But now you wasted 24 months of opportunity for your money to grow in a way that you may have been unaware of.
That's right.
Because wealthy people operate by different systems than everybody else. They have different knowledge than everybody else.
Yes.
And so, you know, making a decision to really be in the room is important. And so after you write down those 3 decisions that you've been putting off, now you have to make a real decision, one that you're not going to renege on, or you're not going to go back and default on. You make a real decision. You must take immediate action. And so in order for you to do that, write down the first few steps that you need to take.
That's right.
Like, what are 3 simple things that you can do immediately, that you can do right now, that will be in alignment with your new decision? A lot of times we're not moving as fast as we want because our actions are out of alignment with what we say we want. There's no alignment. And if there's no alignment, it doesn't fit. And I can tell you that wealth actually follows the alignment of your destiny. And so things have to be in order, in place for that to happen. And so
a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways.
Not some. The Bible says all of his ways. And so that's why making decisions are so important. You know, and you know, so what's going to be in alignment with your decision? List the immediate actions. You can write down just 3. List the immediate actions and then take action on them right away, like at this moment. Take action on them. And so there's always a way if you're committed. There's always a way when you're committed. And so you have to make decisions that are in alignment with what you say you want and who you say you want to be in your future. You can't desire financial freedom and you're still shopping, or you're still wasting money going to the movies every weekend with your friends, or you going out to the club drinking, or whatever your vice is, right? Once I was talking to this young man at a gas station, and I don't even know how money came up. I think sometimes I feel like I have a big sign on my forehead that tells people to come talk to me about money. I could be sitting inside the motor vehicle administration and somebody will sit down and start talking about money.
You are the queen of green,
yeah,
baby.
but they don't know that. I could be on that
But
airplane.
you draw that to you because of the decision you've made in your calling. To accept your calling. So that's drawn to you.
But sometimes I don't want to draw it to me. Sometimes I just want to be on the airplane and rest.
You don't have a choice.
But I have been. I've been on the airplane before, and people just sit down and start talking to me about their financial issues. And this particular day, I was at a gas station, and I can't even remember how I started a conversation with this young man, but he started talking about, you know, his money problems and how broke he was, and he smelled like a reefer factory. And so I said, just out of the blue, I know I shocked him because I saw the look on his face, but I said, how much money are you spending on reefer every week? And he looked at me like I was crazy, you know, and I said, listen, small leaks sink a great ship. And so the amount of money that, you know, you're spending, if you stop smoking or spending so much money on that, you have the ability to accelerate, you know, getting out of debt quickly. You may think $25 a month is not a lot, but when you add that to the principal amount of a debt that you have and you do it consistently, you shave time off of how long you're responsible for paying that debt. And then time equates to money because it saves in interest. And so, you know, if we take account of the things that we're doing, it's the little things that's eating up our positioning to be able, you know, to just have financial strength.
You said this quote yesterday, right? Small leaks sink great ships. That's a Benjamin Franklin quote.
I did.
Yep.
I said it just now, but I said it in the car.
Yep.
Talking yesterday to my son, not about him, about something else we were talking about, but it's true. And so, and so he shook his head and he understood what I was saying, and he was just like, "You right, you right, you right." Yep. But listen, people will do far more to avoid pain than they will do to gain pleasure.
Yeah.
And so you keep spending in unprofitable places, perpetuating the financial pain in your life, but you won't spend the same amount of time that will create financial freedom, which brings pleasure. And so change your decisions and stop trying to avoid failing so much in your life, and put your energy towards creating a beautiful life by making different decisions that line up or come into alignment with the vision that you have for your life and for your lifestyle.
Yep. And what you want to do. So if you look at, on average, it's quoted that on average we make about 35,000 decisions a day.
Wow.
Right? And when you think about that number is huge, but we decide at every step, we wake up, we decide what we're going to do first. Are we going to go eat breakfast? Are we going to wash our face? So we make decisions subconsciously all day, right?
Decide to lay in the bed an extra 30 minutes and scroll through Facebook.
But what I think is important to understand is we also make decisions that shift our destiny.
Yes.
Right? And that's really what we want to focus on, or what this Facebook Live is focusing on. And what I think is important to understand, and what the Lord showed me, is that it's just not good enough to make a decision, right? People make decisions all the time. We make decisions to lose weight, make a decision to change our diet. We make a decision to save money. We make a decision to be on the spending, or on your savings plan. So we make decisions to do certain things, but that decision is no good unless there's corresponding action. And one of the things I want you to understand, Facebook, is that once you make a decision to do something, especially something that is destiny shifting, right? At the point you make that decision to do that, every fiber of your being is now in agreement with that decision that you've made. So it is at that point where you make that decision that every part of you is ready to act to bring that decision to pass. So I'll say again, it's not just good enough to make a decision, but DNA, as God said to me, those decisions need action. So what do I think, at least my take, what I think keeps us from making that next step is, a lot of times we take a look at ourselves and we see, we may make a decision. Let's say we make a decision to lose weight, but we may look at ourselves and we may see our gut hanging out there. So we say, well, you know what? The problem is me. I'm not going to make a decision to do it. I'm never going to overcome this thing because I see the problem in front of me.
I don't say that. I say, you jiggling, baby. Come on, baby. No,
but what I want you to understand is, don't see yourself as the problem, but see yourself as the person to be able to take action to get you beyond that problem.
And that's 35,000 decisions.
Yes, 35,000 decisions a day.
35,000 decisions
not 3,500. So we make a ton of decisions. The next thing is, your ideas have great potential.
Yes.
Okay? So as you encounter a decision that requires action, I want you to understand it's God's work to give the idea. Okay? It's God's work to give the idea, but it's man's work to make sure we bring that idea to pass.
Right, because guess what? God told Noah to build an ark, but Noah still had to get up out of bed every morning. He had to go think about it.
That's a God idea.
That's a God idea.
That's
but
right.
He still had to figure out what tools
how to
he
build
needed,
the
what
ark.
supplies he needed,
Exactly.
how to build the ark. And then after he made a decision that he was going to do it, and then he figured out the tools, what was he going to need, the strategies that he was going to need, then he had to get to work. Like that ark was not going to build itself. Just because God said it doesn't mean that he twiggled, winked his eye or wiggled his nose in it, or that there was some jar that he can go rub and the genie came out and was like, poof, the ark is there.
And I truly don't believe, and this is Rob's take, I don't believe God revealed all of what the ark looked like to Noah when he spoke to him and told him to start building it. Right? I was having this conversation with somebody over the weekend, and the way I believe God works, if I can use this analogy in some cases, use football, right? If I can just get a first down, I got 4 downs to get a first down, and I believe God works the same way. You don't punt on first down, right? Because that first step didn't work, or that first step seems like a challenge. You got 3 more downs to get a first down, and then you're back to work again. So I believe God works in that way, in that I don't believe God showed Noah that complete ark and what it looked like from the beginning. But once Noah got to work, he began to put all the pieces of the puzzle. Think about it. That ark had to be waterproof. There was no waterproofing you can paint on wood at that time. That ark had to be waterproof.
So he had to get the right wood.
He had to get all the right wood. He had to build in the right way, construct in the right way, in order for that plan, that idea to be successful.
Too, of everything. That's a big ark.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
Decisions need action.
Yep. And then the third thing I wanted to share. So 2 things, right? Your problems don't improve you. We got to learn how to see the problem and understand that we have the ability, the gumption, the fortitude to get through it, to get beyond it. Second thing is your ideas have potential. And then the third thing is you got to begin to speak to yourself, right? Daily affirmations. You have to be your biggest encourager.
Most definitely.
You cannot allow a situation around you, a circumstance to stop you.
Especially in going through the process. Because I don't know if you guys are like this, but Rob and I had heard so many different negative things when we told people we wanted to start a business. We heard so many negative things. We made a decision. There it is again.
Yep, a decision.
Not to share it with everybody. Sometimes you have to protect the dreams and reveal destiny in your heart. And so we made a decision not to tell everybody and move like in silence with each other. But because at that time we weren't getting a lot of people encouraging us, just our mentors and our coaches that were encouraging us, our daily affirmations were the encouragement.
Yes.
Not that we were not only speaking those things that be not as though they were, we were also encouraging ourselves.
And each other.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I think that's important. Yep. Very important. So, and I just wanted to share with you Deuteronomy 30 and 19 as we sort of come to a conclusion. We've been going for almost 30 minutes. But and I just wanted to share with you real quick just this passage of scripture where it says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you that I have set before you. So here's an opportunity for a choice, right? Life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life that both thou and thy seed shall live.
And so here, really, this is
God's telling us we have a decision.
He said, you have to
and
make
it's
a
generational decision.
Nothing just happens, but the decisions that you make to build wealth, to become financially free, to live a freedom-based lifestyle, free from poverty, to be able to shift your DNA, right? Not just your internal DNA, but the DNA decisions that need action. For you to be able to do that, he's telling you, you have to make a decision. He's not going to decide for you. You have to decide. Your destiny needs you to have a decision, and you have to be committed to the decisions that you make. You have to be relentless to those decisions and not default on the decisions.
And can't fall back, right? So one of those things, if you look at that word choose in the original, it actually means, God says choose life, but if you look up that word choose in original, it means require. So God, although he set a decision before us, he made life a requirement.
Wow.
So God said, I require life. Now, what did he mean by life? That life doesn't mean just a physical life, but it means God's desire is to actually have us thrive.
That's right.
God's desire is to have us overflowing.
God desires for us to be free.
Absolutely.
A freedom-based lifestyle.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
So your decisions require or need action. Remember, it's just not good enough to make a decision, but there must be corresponding action. And it is at that point when you make that decision that every fiber of your being is moving to get it done.
Yep. So that was awesome.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Facebook. We will see you next week. Do not forget to share this, please. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.